But we're also going to kick your week off right with a great set of guests from Rocky Mountain Elementary, who's going to be talking about a plethora of things here about their school. But first, we're going to have them introduce yourself and what your role is with the school.
I'm Katie Ingram, and I'm Rocky Mountain's Family Liaison.
I'm Keisha Thornton. I'm the school counselor at Rocky Mountain Elementary.
Absolutely.
And I'm Lisa Newell, and I'm the principal there at Rocky Mountain Elementary.
Well, let's start off with how your year is going at Rocky Mountain Elementary. I'll open it up to the floor if you want to kind of kick it off. But what a year are you having there at Rocky Mountain?
Well, it's been a really fun and fantastic year. We have so many different programs going on in the school, and we feel like our staff we're really working together as one team and really focus on the kids and everything that we can do for them, both during school and after school. And it's a great journey. It really is. And
a little bit later in our interview, we're going to talk about some of those great things that they're doing in the school. But we wanted to kick off your Monday morning with a topic that's actually a countywide initiative that's going on. But this is our first opportunity to talk about it. And it's a trauma-informed school. So if somebody would kind of kick it off with, what does it mean to be a trauma-informed school?
I'll be glad to introduce that. One of the things that we've learned through a lot of our research is that a lot of children experience trauma these days. And trauma can be defined as something small that happens within your community or your home environment, or there's just so many different things that it could be. It could be the illness of someone in the family. It could be something serious like a death in the family, or a divorce of the parents, or anything like that that creates some trauma in their life. And to be a trauma-informed school means that everyone, not just the three of us, but all of us have been trained on how to work with trauma and how to be sensitive to that, because we know that kids can't learn if they're experiencing a lot of trauma. So Keisha and Katie are part of our team. They were trained by another trainer, and they have set out this year and trained every single person in our school. They've had, I don't know how many meetings we've had, but at least 6 or 7 where we've trained all of our teachers, all of our paraprofessionals, and these two ladies, along with Tanisha Harris, has led that initiative. So I'm going to let them talk a little bit about what they've been doing throughout the year to make us be able to say we are a trauma-informed school.
Absolutely. Well, let's kind of start at the beginning and talk about this training. What did it entail, and how much work did it go into realizing what you guys need to do for this?
We spent 2 days with a trainer to go over all the information that goes into a trauma-informed school and how to teach your staff, how to be more sensitive and take the time with the students at school to really slow down and talk to them instead of just like rushing through and trying to get them calm and back in class, but instead slowing down so you could see what's going on with them to help them learn better once they were in the classroom. So like Dr. Knoll said, throughout the whole school year, we've gone through staff meetings with them and gone piece by piece of what we can do to really help our students learn more efficiently in school.
Absolutely. And it seems like it's one of those things where you don't, during your day, go, okay, I need to stop, I need to make sure I'm going through everything about being a trauma-informed school, but it's just become second nature to, teachers care about their students. We're not saying that they didn't before, but to just think about, okay, why is this student reacting the way they are? Why are they acting a little bit differently today? Can you address that a little bit of how it kind of becomes ingrained in the culture of the school?
Well, it kind of opens up, everyone's eyes as to, what situation or where kids come from outside of the school environment, and the many issues that they deal with, outside of the school environment. And it helps you understand some of the behaviors that we see and try to, help the little ones throughout the day.
Absolutely. And
well, when we say that, we really care about all kids, we certainly do, and we realize that misbehavior is actually communication. I don't think anybody comes to school and says, okay, I just want to be terribly mean today. I think a lot of times misbehavior spouts out from things they can't express, from problems that are inside them, and they are oftentimes not able to communicate about it. They need somebody to help them through that trauma or that experience that they're having. And they're great kids, they're great people. But just like us as adults, if something's bothering us, it's hard to focus and concentrate.
And when you look at implementing this, is this the first year of this program?
It is.
Implementing this, have you saw a kind of shift in the behavior of the kids? Have they been more open to to talking about maybe the problems that they have and making that a first line defense, or is it still kind of in that development stage where kids are still being kids and teachers are kind of having to look into it more?
As the years progress, I feel like they've been more open and willing to talk, and it's really a whole language and culture change for our school. The staff, like the way they communicate with students is completely different, and the way the students react to the teachers is completely different, and you can see it progress as the years gone on, as we've done more development and training with the staff, which has been great for our students. It's just the atmosphere is a lot calmer and more gentle, and the kids are responding really well to that.
Absolutely, and it directly ties back with one of the jobs of administration, the principle of taking care of discipline issues. Have you saw a kind of reduction in that, or how has it affected, I guess would be a better question?
Yeah, I think it's affected it in several ways. There may be certainly a reduction, because I know Katie and Keisha and also our other family liaison, Ms. Connie Maliki, they are very, very attentive and working privately with small groups and with individuals. And now our teachers are a lot more understanding, and they, instead of just immediately writing an office referral, then they might go to somebody on our team and say, would you spend some time with this child? Would you talk to them? Let's see what's on their mind. Let's figure this problem out and see if we can solve it in a preventative way. And I think that's really been very, very helpful to kids. So they know that we don't like to use the word break, because everybody would like to have a break throughout the day. But sometimes we just say, can you come and check in on my friend? And then they'll stop by the door and they'll talk to them. And sometimes that child literally does need a break. They need to talk about what's on their mind. They need to refocus. They maybe need to walk around, get a little exercise, a little bit of water. We also have learned that oxygen to the brain is in the way of movement is very important for learning. And also that hydration, just being able to have water and things like that. So we've learned from the smallest detail up to some of the most serious problems. We've learned a lot about those. Absolutely. And I think it's helped everyone, including myself. So, quite often when I have a student in the office and I'm looking at them in the face and they do have a referral, I know there's just so many layers below that. And I treat that child with utmost respect and say, I know you're a good person. This may be a bad choice, but I know you're a good person, and how can we bring you back to that great person that you belong to be? And that's just a whole shift in mindset, really.
And I think when you hear other folks out in the community talk about kids these days that are in school, lots of stigmas go along with that they face different things than maybe I faced when I was in school or you faced when you were in school. Could you talk a little bit about that, I know without going into specifics, but what are things that kids are facing these days that may be the same as when you guys were in school and I was in school, or maybe things that are different that folks that are watching today may not consider, that are issues they're facing?
I think one of the biggest issues is having their immediate or their basic needs met, such as, kids may be coming to school that, haven't eating, or, they've, had some type of family issue at home. What else?
Parents that aren't together, that's a lot more prevalent now. So you're dealing with like two different home lives, and if they're going back and forth between, there are a lot of more peer issues going on at school in the higher grade levels. So just trying to really work through a lot of those things and be more preventative than reactive with these kids when they come in.
Yes.
And quite honestly, we do see the effects of an opioid crisis that you hear about quite often in the news. It's vivid here in Franklin County, and sometimes if parents are using drugs, then that really changes the home life. And we do see a lot of grandparents who raise children now, and they seek out support groups. And one of the things we've also done as a part of this is really worked hand in hand with the community. We have a really nice partnership going with Franklin Heights Baptist Church, and they provide food bags that we send home every weekend for extra food. And I wouldn't even begin to start the list of churches and individuals and groups that have helped us this year. We've been able to do so many things at Christmas time for children, as far as shoes, coats, toys. The list just goes on and on about what we'll do. And it's not just at Christmas time now. We just have that. We have funds that we go to all year long. If we know that somebody needs anything, then we try to provide that need and meet that need for them.
Absolutely. Was there anything else about the trauma-informed school that you think folks need to know about, or this is our first time hearing about it here on Rise and Shine, and we know that all area schools are participating in this, but it is the first time we've heard about it. So is there anything else that maybe that we may have missed in that part of our discussion?
I think it's a very good initiative to have in the school district. Like you said, there's other schools around that implement it as well. So it's really important that we're very knowledgeable about what trauma is and how it affects our kids.
Absolutely, because as you said, it affects somebody every day in the school is having some sort of issue, or it's just the way that schools work, especially a school of your size as well.
Right.
There's lots of kids coming in and out of the building every day and having to go home and come back, and there's issues that arise on the bus, and you name it, when you ever get kids together.
That's right.
Fun things can happen, right?
Yeah. I think Keisha said it very well, so, and I couldn't say it any better myself. So.
Absolutely. And now we're kind of going to shift a little bit from a countywide initiative to something that's very unique and specific to Rocky Mount Elementary with the Early Learning Center, or ELC for short. So somebody want to kick off with?
I'll be glad to introduce it, and these two ladies honestly work a lot harder at it throughout the week than I do, so I'll let them share lots more details. But one of the things that came out of the trauma-informed school is that we realized when a student does have extreme misbehavior that in the past may have meant out-of-school suspension, then we have to be really honest with ourselves and say, what is out-of-school suspension? It may just mean a free snow day to that child, and they love that consequence. It might mean video games. It might mean back in the environment that caused the trauma from the beginning. So the ELC is actually an alternative to out-of-school suspension, and these ladies, along with our other family liaison, Connie Maliki, work the program. So if someone does need a more sincere consequence, then instead of having out-of-school suspension, they go to the ELC. And we really like it for several reasons. One, it's on our campus. They ride the bus to school, they get off, they're there all day, but they also have a chance to complete their academics, and they also have classes that help them understand what it is, why they got the referral, how they can work to prevent it. So we're actually doing some restorative practices to prevent it from happening in the future. As a part of that, we even have different projects they can do around the school that are helpful, kind of in a way to give back at the end of the day. So these ladies work the program along with several other staff members. Our paraprofessionals help, and they actually do the restorative lessons. So I want to let them talk a little bit more about how it looks in a given day.
And again, we're talking about the Elementary Learning Center, the ELC. It may be something that you're first hearing about, and that's what we're talking about right here. So it just sounds like an extension of this trauma-informed school, of taking it to that next level, instead of just going to the step of being informed and being able to talk through it, but taking that almost a physical step of, okay, now we're going to make it a learning experience for you.
So if a child gets a referral and then Dr. Knoll or Mr. Altus feel like they need to go to the ELC, they'll write on the referral why they went out there. So whether it was lack of anger management, some peer relations, something like that, and then we'll look at the referral and we'll make a lesson based upon that skill that they're lacking. So when they're out there, they'll work on their academics, and then periodically throughout the day, they'll have these social skill times where we can do those restorative practice lessons to help them be able to control their anger better, work with their peers, build their interpersonal relationships, things like that, that when they go back in the school the next day into their class, that they'll have these foundations in order to kind of build off of that. And then they'll have some community service towards the end of the day around the campus or with the other kids.
So it sounds like it's a very individualized program. It's not a cookie cutter, okay, you're going to the ELC today, you know what you're going to do. It's the same thing you did the last 3 times that you had to go to the ELC. So it's very personalized.
Yes, it has to be that way because, not everybody learns or, thinks the same way.
Absolutely.
I think that it's been really interesting to watch kids go to the ELC and then come back. And I think they come back and they realize this wasn't really punishment, this was a learning experience. And they come back with more skills. And I've really hats off to these ladies because they've actually planned ahead several lesson plans that pinpoint different topics. And they've shared with me some of the lessons that they've taught. and they're very powerful. Kids are talking about their emotions, they're talking about what's happening, and then they're taking it one step further as how can I prevent it? When I go back and meet with those peers again, or when I go back into the same situation, how can I react? And basically they're learning replacement behaviors, which is really, it's not, we don't even pretend that it's professional counseling because it's a whole different thing, but it really is restorative, and it really does show a lot of respect to the child. And it also helps us to finish our academics and to honor that person, and it's really been a fabulous program. And as far as I know, we're the only elementary school that's tried something like this. I know the middle and high school have a program,
Yes.
but we really like it because it's on our campus. It's with these folks that all of our students know them very well, and you know, it's really a respectful program. It respects them and honors their needs.
Absolutely. Is it something that you would like to see other elementary schools maybe tag into? Do you think it's beneficial in that way?
I think it certainly is. I think it's very personalized, it's very successful, and you know, there's always the challenge of having staff folks to work in and rearranging schedules, and so from an administrative side, it's not an easy thing to put together, but it's certainly worth the time and energy.
Absolutely. But it looks like when you combine these two programs together, it's about taking the needs of the students that go outside of even the classroom, taking care of their emotional needs and things like that, to make them a better learner and to make them a more well-rounded student. So it's not just you come to school on the bus or get dropped off, you sit in class all day, and then we send you back home. So it's definitely a culture change, it seems like, with these programs. And how important it is for the students and teachers and administration and parents and community and everybody to buy into not only these programs, but just the school, and how it just makes everything a little bit more successful.
Yes, when it comes to the ELC or even any of our other programs, just having the staff buy in and like their support and believing in all the things that we do, it's so important. That's how you're going to be successful with anything that you run, is making sure that all of your staff and your parents are on the same page. And we really do. We have a great staff who help run everything and are supportive of all of our programs, and for our parents to do the same thing.
Absolutely. And as we kind of move forward in our conversation here, it's hard to believe I think we're in the last 9 weeks of school. It's hard to believe that school is quickly going to be coming to an end for 2018 and 2019. But I know that you've got a list of great things that have already happened or maybe going to happen at Rocky Mount Elementary that, you know, folks, again, who don't get into the school every day or don't have children or family members who are in the school system don't realize all the things that go on outside of learning or included in learning at the elementary school. So if you kind of want to go through a couple of those.
We have a plethora of topics, so we'll probably just try to touch on them, but it's basically all under the umbrella of just overall keeping kids really engaged and interested during the school day, and also engaging them in the community after the school day. This is our first year to have a STEM lab, and you've probably had some other schools talk about their STEM labs, which is science, math, technology, and engineering. So every teacher has really stretched themselves this year to go into the STEM lab and do more hands-on activities. And we really believe that prepares students for 21st century learning. So we can prevent misbehavior just by keeping them super engaged and interesting in lessons that are really fascinating for them. And then also after school, we have a really long list of things that keep kids busy and happy and engaged. And one of those that's unique to our school, we have a grant for the Boys and Girls Club. And it's a free program. It lasts every day until 6 o'clock. We actually have buses that run the students all the way back to their home. And during that time, they have homework, they have snacks, they have playtime, and they have an hour of tutoring by a licensed teacher. So it's really an unbelievable program there. We also have the Ymca. They're absolutely always been fabulous to work with. But there's also a niche of several things after school that kids can get involved in. I'll let Keisha and Katie tell about one or two of them, and then I can also share some more, I'm sure.
Talk about Girls on the Run.
Yeah, one thing, this is our second year doing Girls on the Run, and it's an after-school program, and we have about 10 to 12 girls, and you do a lesson before you go outside about just how to empower women, girls, and then you go outside and you run for about 40 minutes, and then at the end of the season you do a 5K, and each girl has a partner, another woman, to run the 5K with her, just talk about health and how to be a powerful, independent woman and move forward that way. And we do have one that we do during the school hours for boys. That's called Guys with Ties. And it's our first year doing that. And Mr. Swan, one of our 5th grade teachers, he's been running that. And it's twice a month, and they come in and they learn just how to be a positive male role model. He's taught them how to tie a tie, answer questions for all. And he has about 25 boys from our 5th grade class in there. And that has been wonderful, and he's done a great job with that.
Absolutely.
Great things.
What about some of the things that you enjoy or that are going on?
Well, we just finished our season of Odyssey of the Mind, and this year we had a team. Last year we had 2 teams, but this year we had one team of great 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders who competed at the high school this past March. Was it the beginning of March? Yes. And so basically, what Odyssey of Mind is thinking that's outside the box, solving problems. I mean, it's a really great program. The kids enjoyed it. We started probably in September practicing so that we could, do our long-term problem and practice on the short-term spontaneous problems. So I think that we had a really good season this year. We came really close to placing, and the kids were, they were so upbeat, and they worked well together as a team. So I was really happy to be part of that this year.
Sure. And when you just look at those short list of things that you just named off there, they're so different. They're so diverse. They hit so many different people. And there's probably kids who are involved in more than one of these different activities throughout the school year. But and you hit on it just a little bit when we kicked into it. Why do you think it's so important to have all of these after-school opportunities for kids?
I think it allows kids just to learn a little bit more about who they are and to gain a little more self-confidence and more skills on working together as a team. And I think it just creates a better child, somebody that's able to do something besides watch video games, but interact with others and things like that. We also work with the Good Neighbors. They provide a partnership with the Roanoke Children's Theater, and our kids usually can't drive all the way to Roanoke and be a part of that theater, so they come to us. And it's a 6-week program, and they learn all about doing plays, and they put on a play at the end. We also work with another outside organization who gives the Good News Club. And kids come in and and it's totally optional, but they can learn about the Bible, and they can learn about Christian principles and things like that, which is really nice. We have a lot of increased volunteerism, and one of our volunteers actually kicks off today our first Ukulele Club. And after school, he is going to teach kids how to play ukulele, and we're going to have a ukulele group. Our music teacher just took a whole group choir to the Music in Our Schools concert, and they practiced for quite a while for that. We have a dads program where dads can come in and volunteer during the day, just to give kids more visible male role models in our school.
Sure.
And I think that's really helpful for them. We have a girls' geek club that our librarian runs, and basically they're doing engineering and science type of things after school. And so there's just so many things that you can kind of tag into and find out. We have a chess club. You can play chess. So it's just giving kids opportunities to get outside the academic world and learn a lot of new things and get involved in the community and build relationships with other people. It's really all about relationships. If kids, I think if kids feel like they fit in somewhere and they have a friend that really understands and cares about them, that can change their world dramatically. And that's what we're about doing, just really helping them to become all they can be, both academically and otherwise.
So, as we kind of tied back to our first discussion during the first segment, we talked about all the issues that face our young folks as they go from home to school and back to home. But there's also almost as equal number of opportunities that they have when they get to school, of after-school activities, things going on during the day, just to broaden their horizons and just be that better student here in 2019. But anything else that's going on at the school that you'd like to let people know about and really?
One thing we joke about is that Rocky Mount Elementary is never a quiet place, because sometimes I'll work as late as 6 o'clock, and there's up until 6 p.m., our building is full.
Yes.
It's hard to find a classroom to do an extracurricular activity. I was like, okay, who has a library today, and who has the gym, and let's let's schedule the gym for 2 or 3 groups, and it's been a lot of fun. But there's a lot of positive energy there. And the one thing I would just like to say is, outside of all the programs that we've talked about, there's no replacement for just having a really caring team that works together. And I really feel like that we've been able to build a culture where we work together, where we are a team, where we have a common goal. And that common goal is for the betterment of our students. And it's a great journey. It's never the same. No 2 days are ever the same. But it's a great journey, and I'm really thankful to have these ladies with me, as well as the rest of my staff. We actually have about 100 people on staff at Rocky Mount Elementary. We have lots of programs, and it's really an amazing place.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, we thank you guys from here at Cable 12 for all of your hard work in our school system, teaching our young folks life lessons as well as academic lessons. But at the same time, we also, thank you for all coming down and talking with us and informing us about all of these great things that you have going on. As we said, if you don't have kids that are in the school system, or you don't have maybe a loved one who's in the school system, sometimes we get a little bit out of touch with all the great things that are going on, especially as we get through this time of year, the budget season. It's good to kind of open people's eyes of all the great things that are going on in our school. So again, we thank you for coming down bright and early on this Monday morning. I guess we'll let you get back to Rocky Mount Elementary.
Thank you so much for having us. It's always a pleasure to be here and share with the community some of the great things that are happening at school.
Wonderful. And if you have anything else that you want us to announce, be sure to let us know, and we'll get folks into Rocky Mount Elementary.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.